I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
School Committee Chair report. I have nothing to report at this time. By the way, welcome back, everyone. Beginning of the second half of the school year. Resource Committee.
Resource, we have a meeting planned for this coming week. I'm not sure what day it's going to be yet. But,
Questions, concerns? School building needs.
That's school
Same
building
thing?
needs, yeah.
Okay. Policy Committee.
Nothing to report. I think we reported out at our last meeting.
Yeah, and there'll be a second reading. There'll be a couple different readings
That's
for
it,
the
yes.
discipline policy for students with disabilities and also the private school policy.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yeah, you guys saw that last
Yes, that's right. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none. Student support, Ms. LaBelle Pierce.
Nothing new to report.
All right, thank you. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none. School personnel, and nothing to report at this time. Executive Committee, nothing as well. And now we come to the student reports.
Okay, so I believe this is our last school committee meeting as your student representatives. I could be wrong, but I think they chose new student representatives at the high school. But it's okay. The two coming in are very, very good. You have two girls coming in, and they'll be great. So the canned food drive for the Fitchburg versus Leominster, sadly this year, sorry, Mr. Roach, we couldn't bring it home. The canned food drive we lost. And
Lost to who?
Leominster.
Oh, don't tell them.
I know.
Can't believe that.
And we're not going to talk about the game either. It's just, the records reflect themselves, I guess.
All right, so, no, we have to ensure this doesn't happen next year.
Yes, we will ensure. Ms. Woods is already just
We need to
planning.
devise a way to,
Yes, we'll create an action plan. We'll report
See me.
back. Definitely, 100%.
thank you. Okay.
The all-school play is going to be November 21st and November 22nd, and then we have a school improvement council coming up, the 23rd.
I mean, January?
Oh, this has already happened. My bad. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'm like, no. There is a school improvement council coming up on January 23rd, though, I know. The breakfast with the bands, and we had a spirit week right before Thanksgiving, as we always do. We have started to go out to the middle schools and talk about the Honors Academy and STEM program. Me and a couple other students with Ms. Scott to the Longjo a couple weeks ago, or last week, and talked about the Honors Academy to Longjo kids to start recruiting for the class of 2024. Wow, that's insane. The midterm exams are coming up next week, so I believe they start on Monday and then they go until Thursday, so those 4 days will be midterms. And then that's it. And then a lot of kids in the senior class are preparing for college, and I believe that's on the schedule, but just kids are applying for college, and that's basically it.
And a big thing that happened on December 10th was the National Honor Society induction for all the upcoming seniors and the juniors who got in. So that was a really great night. We had a lot of members, and yeah, it was fun.
So you think this is your last night, huh?
I believe it is.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
All right, well,
News for you.
we got to go an away gift for both of you.
The Yankees swap. It was their last
It's a
meeting.
re-gifting.
It was like Christmas morning all over again.
See that?
God. New Year's resolution was to give up sweets.
We know how to take care of you. That's right.
Thank you.
So much.
You're welcome. I was going to give them to Mr. Roach. I know you could get rid of them at the school tomorrow. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Always thinking. That's why we love it. All
Which
right.
means they would have stayed in his office. That's what I'm saying.
You guys have done a great job.
We're going to make it.
Yeah, we need to have a saying whether or not we get new people. We like them.
It's okay, you will like
Another
the...
half.
You'll
Another
like
half.
the next two.
All right,
They're
good.
nice.
We've liked everybody we've had.
That's right. See, he was a principal. Approval of the minutes from the previous school committee meetings.
Make a motion?
Motion made and seconded to approve the meeting minutes from December 16th, 2019. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is unanimous. Thank you. No need for executive session, Mr. Superintendent?
Correct?
Communications? No?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
First off, congratulations to our mayor for his reelection. The swearing in was official as of this morning, so there's no turning back, and congratulations to Aiden and Jim and myself, and
Yes.
very happy to continue with this group. Yes. Congratulations also to Michael Kushmarek, who begins his second incarnation as the City Council President. Also to Beth Walsh, who did spend some time on the school committee, where I think we trained her well. She is serving as Vice President. And also I'd like to give a shout out to Amy Green, Councilor Amy Green, who is the outgoing Vice President. So thank you to everyone. Just a real quickie, in my role as the chair of Stratton Players, the longest-running community theater in the region, which was started by a Fitchburg High School English teacher, Helen Stratton, who was class of Smith 01. It's 1901. We're doing 4 Weddings and an Elvis, which is a comedy. We open January 24th. On January 25th, we have an Elvis Presley impersonator who will come to Slattery's. Dave Saluza is very much on board with this. We've got a wonderful dinner, buffet, and Elvis will marry any couples in the audience. So I have 2-for-1 postcards right here. So come, I'll put them on the back table, so please take. And again, anyone who's watching, you can get in touch with StrattonPlayers.com. Also, Therapy Pets will be at Memorial next Monday at 10:30 for the 5th graders. And for the parents who asked me, I just heard from Memorial Middle School Principal Brittany Lavoie, and the Nature's Classroom information will be going out to parents next week, and that is for 5th graders. So as I have a 5th grader, we're beyond excited about Nature's Classroom. So, and welcome back, everyone. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Questions or comments or concerns?
I guess I have just one question
Yes.
for Ms. Cragen. Does that include renewal of wedding vows too?
Absolutely renewal.
Right. Public comment period. 5-minute limit. Anyone in the audience wishing to make a public comment or statement? Seeing none, moving on. Superintendent's report.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Well, we have Principal Roach and Assistant Principal Jen Scott here from the high school, and some friends from Fitchburg State and Mount Wachusett Community College to talk about our early college initiative. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, these.
Jen definitely is.
Yeah. There can be a circle behind.
Yeah, we can just bring some chairs
Yeah.
up, because I think it'll be good to, I have 2 extra handouts for anybody that did not receive them.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Study up. No, we get these emailed to us every week.
Oh, I get to.
And they're posted around school.
So,
The boards.
yeah, thanks for the opportunity to talk about this, and we'll do, I think probably helpful to do introduction. So Jeremy Roach, Principal, Fitchburg High School. As you know, I'll start behind me with Dr. Canny.
Kathy Communication, VP Academic Affairs from Fitchburg State.
Drew Goodwin, Coordinator of Early College and Dual Enrollment at Fitchburg State.
Gina Warenen, Fitchburg State College, helping to coordinate early college in the 4 schools.
Megan Florin, Assistant Dean, K-12 Partnerships and Civic Engagement at Mount Wachusett Community College.
Lauren Dovelar, Senior at Fitchburg High School and dual enrollment student. So.
Jennifer Scott, Assistant Principal, Fitchburg High School.
So we have a presentation in the form of the handout here, and Ms. Scott and I will review, but I think the main thing that I would emphasize is, you know, our partnership has been in the works for really 2+ school years at this point. You know, to get to the point where we are now, where there is an early college, high school approval by the Department of Education in Massachusetts. It has taken a lot of concerted, collaborative effort, you know, and that's been ongoing, and has had some rejections and some revisions and moving forward. But we're really excited about it, and I think truly it is, it's been a great partnership, and it's pretty exciting. So what we have here is kind of an overview, a little bit of an update, and then some detailed data, but, you know, we also want to, you know, provide opportunities for questions and answers and discussion. So the handout, the first couple of slides really kind of goes over, you know, our process, and you know, as we've been getting ready for the meeting, we've been, you know, sharing emails like we do, and Dr. Canny had suggested, I think it was Dr. Canny, yes, it was, that suggested that we review kind of our process. You know, we did get the designation in May of 2019, but it's a designation for the North Central Mass Early College High School program, which includes Leominster High School, Gardner High School, Sizer School, as well as Mount Wachusett and Fitchburg State University. I think the interesting thing of the 17 approved programs in the state that include 30 high schools, I think that ours is the largest in terms of the number of schools and colleges that, because many that we've seen are sort of one community college and one high school, kind of focusing in on one type of program, and we'll get into that in a little bit too. So ours is a really big operation in terms of each school has a little bit of a different angle and perspective, and working with Fitchburg State and the Mount has been great because they provide, you know, a lot of feedback about kind of what we can do and how we can do that. I don't know if anybody wants to add in or chime in on any of that. Feel free.
Yeah, I'll just add on that process. I mean, it's a big deal. Only 17 folks have been designated by the state. So with over 400 high schools, it's quite a process. It's a thing. Fitchburg should be proud that they have this designation.
Just a quick question. I know we've known students who've been at Fitchburg High and other high schools who have taken classes at Fitchburg State. So how is this just a formalization of students being still in high school but taking classes at Mount Wachusett and Fitchburg High?
So why don't we slide over to the umbrella slide, because that might be.
If you're going to get to that, that's fine. I can wait.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because that's an important question. I think that dual enrollment is certainly one thing.
Okay.
And if you look at the information on that slide, we actually kind of modified this slide from a presentation that many of us had seen at the state level that Chelsea High School had done, because they've been doing some of this work with Bunker Hill Community College for a number of years now. And there is a difference. There's a difference between dual enrollment, a student simply taking a single college-level course, whether it's taught at their high school site by a high school teacher who happens to be an adjunct professor, and they can embed it into the school day. We have some of that. Or by another staff member from Fitchburg State of the Mount, but still at the high school site. We have some of that going on. Or at the college, or at one of the campuses, whether it's the Mount or Fitchburg State, and we have some of that going on as well. So there's plenty of students that do a single, maybe two dual enrollment classes, but the distinction for early college is that it's focused in on a specific sort of cluster maybe, or pathway, or at least concept around a course of study, and that it is 12 credits minimum. So for us right now, we have a healthcare. Maureen's been a part of that. Alhana has been a part of that as well. We have a healthcare program as an early college because it guarantees the students will receive 12 dual enrollment credits by the time they graduate, which is a semester, more or less, depending upon the college a student attends. And we're working towards developing, so we have liberal arts, healthcare, and then in the works for 2020, 2021 is education. The reason that we've done those is they're the three highest job force sectors in North Central Mass. Municipal jobs, number one. Healthcare, number two. Manufacturing is the third one, and that's, we're sort of doing through Innovation Career Pathway, but they're two programs established by the state. And then liberal arts just provides a lot of opportunity for students to go different angles. And again, please jump in.
Fire science.
Fire science, exciting. Jen can Ms. Scott, I should say, can speak to some of that more specifically, but I don't know, did I miss anything? Business, yeah. So, I mean, I think that our goal is really, if you look at the benefits, we want to make sure that students have opportunities to have these kind of experiences, and you know, Maureen Ohana can speak to it too, I think, in terms of, you know, the dual enrollment credit is big. You know, one of the rationales that we've, you know, really taken, you know, with this initiative is that college is expensive. And we got to give students a leg up in that process, whether it's AP classes or early college / dual enrollment. You know, Massachusetts public colleges, no offense to anyone in the room, are among the most expensive in the United States. And we have, you know, many students for whom that is a huge obstacle. You know, as you look at some of the research about, a few of the states have been out of the gate on early college for a number of years now, Texas being one, and I believe Tennessee. Their research has shown that for low-income students, they're twice as likely to get a degree, you know, college degree, if they were part of an early college type of program. If they gathered some of those credits beforehand and, you know, prior to graduating from high school, they're twice as likely to actually graduate from college. Because if you look at the data, Massachusetts low-income students are 3 times less likely to graduate from college than, you know, their peers that would be from, you know, moderate to high income. Again, we want to give our kids a great experience academically, socially, extracurriculars, all that, but this is a big piece, I think, in terms of their futures and helping them really get that start that they need and being able to persevere at that next level. So I don't know, Maureen or Alhana, if you can speak to the experience itself, what it's like taking the classes and what it's been like being they're both part of the healthcare pathway, but I don't know if you want to chime in at all, feel free.
All I can say is, like, the experience has been really amazing. All the instructors are really good. But one thing that's, like, been the most important thing that's been taught to me, like, through everything is the time management thing. Because I know the teachers only come, like, twice a week or something, and so, like, your assignments are due in, like, 2 days, or maybe, like, you go, like, days without seeing them. And so it really does, like, teach you, like, you have to handle your own stuff because they won't stay on top of you. And I know, like, a lot of students from, like, the class of 2019 or upperclassmen that I'm friends with, they, like, say that their first semester of college, like, taught them, like, how to be in college. Like, they didn't know anything. Like, it honestly surprised them. And so I think, like, through taking dual enrollment, like, I think I'm going to be a little bit more prepared than that. So,
yeah. Similarly, I feel the same thing about how I'm getting ready now to see what college life will be like and how the classes and how the curriculum will be different than, like, high school and how their classes are. And it's a lot more like, you know, I'm getting the actual hands-on feel of what it feels like to be in that classroom, to be with the professor who has taught college kids and, you know, is experienced with the way of how they teach college kids versus, you know, our high school teachers. So I think it's a great experience that students should definitely take advantage of, because it's, you know, you're going to save yourself money in college. And it's just a great way to just, you know, feel what you like and then what classes you're interested in, what you're not in. And high school is the best time to, you know, experience as much as you can, because after high school, everything is, you know, out of your pocket. It costs money. So I think that here, yeah, definitely, it was a great point. It was a great vantage point for myself to, like, you know, take advantage of all these classes that were, you know, given to all these students. So.
Alhana, can you just say how many college credits you'll have when you leave high school?
Hopefully.
Not including AP classes, but just with your dual enrollment?
27.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's 9 college, I mean, that puts her at 1 course into her sophomore year before she even steps on campus. So when you're thinking about how much that costs a student per credit, for a public or private university, the amount of money that they're saving is phenomenal, but also the opportunity to be challenged in a college course with the support of high school staff surrounding you while you're still living at home. I think it's great. We've been going into middle schools, like Ethan said, so we have visited all 3 middle schools, and now we're going back around to talk to students about specific programming if they have interest there. But what we've done is we've embedded recruitment about this program into those presentations that we've been using for years. So we talked about it last year at our parent overview when we had 7th and 8th graders, parents come in. We talked about it at the 9th grade orientation the night before school started, and we've been talking to our 8th graders about this opportunity so that they know when they come to Fitchburg High School, it's not just your typical high school classes that you're being exposed to. It's also college level coursework, which hundreds of thousands of dollars saved for our kids.
Yeah, I think the slides that Ms. Scott put together are great ones in terms of that current college coursework slide in particular. You can see how many students we have right now that are currently enrolled in one or a number of these dual enrollment classes that, again, I come back to, like many of the grants that we've been pursuing through the state, there isn't necessarily a huge money allotment that the state has provided for this. So really, a lot of this goes back to what Fitchburg State and the Mount have been able to do on their end. I mean, they've done an unbelievable job, and really, we're truly grateful to be able to provide, like fire science. That's a 6-credit class.
Mm-hmm.
Students are going to be able to take the, what's that test called?
Oh, the civil service
The civil
exam.
service exam in March,
Yeah.
if they really, because this class is not only for people interested in maybe becoming, a firefighter, but police officers, anyone interested in one of those municipal type jobs, even pursuing military, and it's a great opportunity. The civil service exam itself was, I think, $250. So, huge benefits there. But you can see estimated cost savings. That's at $600 a course.
Right.
Which I think is probably pretty low.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
That's almost $500,000.
Well, a
just,
credit.
Just at
It's
Fitchburg High
600.
School. At
Yeah.
a credit. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big amount. Again, I think that speaks to some of the data that we've seen, from early returns on a few of the states that have been out ahead of this a little bit more, so like Texas in particular, so.
What's really exciting too is, often the way that we test whether or not our students are interested is we send a survey out, a quick Google form, who would be interested. We sent one out about the business course. Within 24 hours, 37 students had already signed up. So they're seeking these courses. Fire science, we had, I think, 40 kids in the auditorium. We've been acuplacing them to see if they can test into the course. I mean, these are things that our students are not only looking to do, but they're doing it in addition to their full course load. So they're willing to take sociology, intro to sociology, after school. They're willing to go on Saturdays for the fire science to the station and give up a Saturday to learn this. This isn't something that, we're taking classes away and then they only see this course twice a week, so they think it's going to be easier. They're doing it in addition to their high school course load.
That was actually a question I was going to ask. So in terms of the nuts and bolts and how it works, so
Yeah.
a student who's doing this is taking their regular high school load, and is that true for all of these classes, like
No.
English 101?
It's not.
It
So
varies, I would say.
It does vary quite a bit. So some of the courses, like the established program, like our healthcare program, where that's taught in our Gear Up Center, we have professors that come in from Mount Wachusett Community College, and they teach very much in the same way that our schedule works. So it's a rotating schedule. Maureen and Alhana might have human growth and development B period. So B period, whenever that falls, they'll go there and there's a professor there or another proctor there. But our schedule doesn't always match the college schedule, so we've had to be creative with that. So just as an example, the sociology class, that's something that students are going to take after school. The fire science, that's something that they're going to do on Thursdays during a long block. So because our schedule changes every day, so one every 7 days they'll miss a class, and then Saturdays they're giving up one Saturday a month to go to the fire station. Then we have things like our business class, which they'll meet twice with the professor, and the rest will be online. So they'll do that in addition to their normal coursework. The tutoring program they're going to do, it's a hybrid also, so they'll do 4, Drew can speak to that, but 4 face-to-face. And the rest they're doing embedded in the school day. They're going into classes and being instructional assistants. So we've been really creative as far as making this work for our students, and some have had the option to drop a class and go to the ASC in order to have that time built into their school day to do the online work.
So I have a lot of questions, but what impact does it have on the teaching full-time people that you need at the high school, right? And what impact does it have on electives that can be offered at the high school? I don't know. I have a lot of things, so I'll just start with those two.
So far,
I would say minimal.
Yeah.
Because we've grown in enrollment pretty significantly this past year to this year, and we project that for a few more years. I think it's fairly minimal. In fact, we've expanded, even in elective areas. What I would say is, what I think it's done is definitely given students more, and you guys could speak to this better than me, but more ownership, especially of some of their outcomes that they want to pursue, and really made that part about kind of like, the data that we've been talking about a little bit is sort of like around, high school students across the nation, what's that number one feeling that they have about being in high school? Bored, disengaged. That's not Fitchburg High, of course, but I do think that's a commonality. They don't see the purpose of some of it. Why am I in class, ... I'm not ever going to use this. I'm never going to have any kind of, it's going to have any impact on my life. I think some of this, as we're looking at it, again, the big picture is really, the students spoke to it too, the preparation part, but getting that opportunity, to have courses that are very costly under your belt before you even finish at no cost, but also building that relevancy, building that connection to, this makes sense, this is something I'm interested in, this is college level work, I can do this, all those factors I think have had, we've waived some PE. I would say that's probably been the number one course that we've waived, but we follow the regulation on that. So we have opportunities for students to get their PE requirement done in different ways, which the state has allowed. And it really hasn't created problems with the courses themselves, there's only 3 left. It's nothing like that, believe. Ask the PE teachers. They have plenty of students in their classes. So I don't know. I
think it's minimal.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything that you thoughts on that?
I don't know. I think it's just like I don't think it really adds. I feel like it's better if you're in an environment where you actually want to be there. You really we do this by choice. So instead of being forced to take PE or something like that, which half the time you're not running a whole mile every single gym class or something like that. I feel like it's better when you're doing something with a purpose. I feel like when I'm sitting there, I'm okay, I need to do this stuff because I'm getting college credit for this, or this is gonna it stays on your transcript. They stay reminding us that. So I don't know. I feel like you do better when you actually want to do it. So.
I see 260 seats. Are you limited to that?
No, that's just where.
This is what you've got.
That's what we have right now.
Is there a capacity number? Is it directed by
each individual
money?
Course has a different capacity. Some of them are based on whether it's a developmental type of, say, English 101, 22 seats for us. I don't know what your seat count is.
Yeah, something like that. As far as your question on funding, it's not, the classes have seats limits, but it's how you're expanding the program. Right now, as Jeremy referred to, the Mountain Fitchburg are going after grants, and that's how we support it. So that's where our capacity will play in at some point.
Right.
Because the students aren't charged anything.
Right. Okay.
They pay nothing, right?
Right.
They pay
Correct.
nothing.
Right.
So that's where the capacity comes in. We want to do more and more and more, so we have to keep seeking funding.
I'm sorry, I cut you. Jeannie, go ahead.
No,
I'm sorry about
you
that.
didn't.
Okay.
Yeah. One question just on the funding. So does that come through the Mass Department of Higher Ed?
Depends what we're going after. There's a Coursework dual enrollment grant, which is a big CDEP it's called, which is a big portion of how we fund it, and that is through the Massachusetts Department of Higher Ed.
Project Healthcare is a federal grant. This is the last year of that grant, but HCOP is coming up right behind it, which is another federal grant. So we've been actively pursuing grant funds to support these initiatives for a number of years.
And hopefully, early college, high school grant or program designation will come with some funding. I mean, that's the big unknown, what the Department of Ed / Secretary of Education's department could be able to provide. And if they did that, what the likely scenario would be with each one of those seats would come an additional per pupil expenditure attached to the student who's enrolled. You know, none of us had any clue about that, and it seems like the folks we work with at Department of Ed, Higher Ed, you know, who else, Secretary of Ed's department don't seem to know either.
Do you capture data? How long has this program been in existence? I mean, is this a national?
No.
It's not.
This is
custom
grown for North Central Mass.
Really? So are there numbers that have shown, data that shows that this program results in a higher percentage of graduates that continue for 4 years and get their bachelor's?
So specific to North Central Mass, we have the first year of that data because of Project Healthcare. So the first year of graduates from Project Healthcare, the grant that these two ladies are part of, matriculated into higher ed this current academic year. So right now, we only have 1 semester worth of persistence, but it is over 80% for those students.
Wow.
Which is well over any
Associates,
of our other persistence rates.
bachelors?
It's just their, right now,
First
at
year.
Mount Wachusett,
Okay.
the ones who came there, we kept over 80%, and there were still,
Yeah.
the counselors are still in touch with the other students who have gone to other institutions as well. So in a couple of weeks, we'll have spring persistence once add drop ends and we know who's actually there and who stays, and then we'll have a year 1. But the Project Healthcare grant was incredibly informative as we really started to think about this early college program and thinking about the structures that needed to go underneath to support the students in being successful. And so we've really got some prime examples of how this can work well.
Right.
I just wanted to add, I think this is a really incredible program. It's clearly different from what, you know, when I was going to college, dual enrollment was a very popular thing. I remember going to Fitchburg State University and having 16-year-old, 17-year-old kids in the class being like, how are you here right now? Like, oh, I go to Fitchburg High School. I'm like, that's incredible. And it was all, you know, they're always incredibly talented, hardest workers in the class by far. They felt like they had a chip on their shoulder. So, you know, it definitely works. But this is something completely different. And you were right, you know, mostly it's, you know, FSU or similar colleges, community colleges that pair up with the local high school, and this is kind of a much bigger ecosystem. So that's something to be really proud of. My only question was about flexibility. On the first slide, you talked about the flexibility, and is that, there's clearly a lot of variety in the different avenues that they can take. But once a student takes like a track, and this isn't like a criticism, I'm just generally curious. Once a student takes a track, like how, do they have to be all in? I mean, if they take a year or 2 years of these college credits and they take, you know, decide to go a different route, they're not necessarily in a bind. They're still, you know, ahead of their peers. But what are their options at that point if they change their mind? Because most people with a bachelor's degree, most of them change their degrees, I believe, or if it's not, it's a lot.
I can speak to that. In terms of the course options that we generally offer, we try to make sure that we take courses from the mass transfer block, which we kind of think of as general electives, general education courses. But we also want to mix that in with some that are more specific to a discipline, knowing that a student taking something like Writing 1 on a college campus, the curricular experience might not be very different than, say, English 12 at their high school. So we try to have a good mixture of both in the pathways that we develop for them.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's for for two reasons. One, for the flexibility to keep it general, and so they're not going too specific into their field, but also as a focus just to be able to pass their high school requirements, to make sure that they pass that huge hurdle.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Great.
And the ladies can speak to maybe that a little bit. What I would say is the early college requirement is 1 English dual enrollment class, 1 math dual enrollment class, and then 2 in the content. So it's not like they're a major in a particular academic program
Right.
at the bachelor's level by any stretch.
Right.
It's flexible in the sense of, I think the healthcare one, you guys can speak to that because 27 credits. I know Maureen has a lot of credit. How many do you have, Maureen?
I think I have 21. I was counting.
Yeah, I mean,
all the classes I've taken.
They both have way more than the
Yeah.
12.
Yeah.
And have done probably more specific type classes. I mean, but have you been able to take other types of things still in the high school? Like, what's the experience been like around that?
So, if you want to go,
No, it's okay.
first every time. So I've taken all the general classes. I've taken like English, psychology, which I know is going to save me so much time when I go to college, so thankfully. But I've also taken the CNA course, which in my head, like ever since freshman year, ever since like I was way younger, I always thought, okay, I want to go into health. And so when I got introduced to the CNA class and I took it, it kind of like reinforced my idea. So now like I know when I go to college, like I don't have to like switch my major. Like I know a lot of kids like don't really know what they're gonna do, but now I know like what path I want to take. Obviously, like I don't think I want to go exactly and be a CNA, but I know that like the health field is right for me. So like that's kind of what it taught me. So I think like I don't know, like.
Isn't that the whole goal? Right?
Yeah.
Now you know that's what you
Now I
want to
know.
do.
So now like I
Sure.
can save a lot of time.
You could save a lot of money
So-
and figure
Yeah.
out it's not what you want to do.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily see that as not a success.
Right.
So you can try something out in a pretty safe environment at no cost
Yeah.
and figure out at 18, okay, you know what, that's not what I want to major in. Also, as far as flexibility, I think something that's great about our program is that it's a regional program. So
Right.
if you have a student that's part of the early college high school at Fitchburg High, and for whatever reason, their family needs to move to Gardner, or their family needs to move to Leominster, they can continue with that program, and those credits still stay with them, which I think is great.
And the big thing for me was always the time. Like, they're saving so much money, but then you're 20 years old or 21 years old and you have a bachelor's degree. In the workforce, I feel like that's an impressive feat, regardless of what your degree is. So yeah, it's a great program. I think it's very unique for FHS too, for FPS, right? I think this is something we should really celebrate. So great.
To add on, I was just,
And Alhana, too, when did you start taking the classes?
I was gonna say I started junior year, so I found about Project Healthcare and like Europe and all the stuff that they did in junior year. So just last year, so I was kind of new to it. I know some people have done it since like freshman or sophomore year, but I'm taking CNA right now. Just like Maureen took it last year though. But like all the English courses, I just wanted to say like it didn't like stop me from taking other electives I was interested in, which is great because I know that some people like drawing or painting or like other types of extracurriculars. So if they wanted to take these dual enrollment courses, it wouldn't like stop them to like take any other electives that they wanted to, and that's helped me. I know that I've taken these dual enrollment courses and they've just like broadened my like knowledge on oh wow, this is cool. And then I decided that I wanted to go into biochemistry, and like that's what I was interested in, and then like medicine through like CNA. So it helped me as well kind of shape where I wanted to have my future be and like what I wanted to do. So I thought that was a great opportunity.
So, you can go if you want.
Oh, so are there freshmen taking a college-level psychology class?
No.
There is
Okay.
a freshman in my psychology class. I started taking it in junior year as well, and I did take CNA last year, and it also made me realize like that class was so hard. Like it was really hard. Like it was really challenging, and so like it made me realize like okay, like I can do this in college because I passed it. Like I had A's all quarter, so like I know it, and like the books were humongous, and like it was a lot of work. But I'm not complaining. Like it was actually like it was like a good experience because now I know this is exactly what college is going to be like, and I know that I can do it now. So yeah, and I don't think it took away time from like taking other electives and stuff. And also like I personally just love dual enrollment because I like to be like treated like I'm like an adult. I guess like I'm not an adult, but like I like to be treated like that. So that's how the profession is treated you. And I don't know. I just.
So when you took your psychology class, you took it with other students from Fitchburg High?
I'm taking psychology right now, so yeah, I took it with other students.
Which I think would be is a nice plus as well, taking a class that you may not know everybody in the class, but you're with people you know, which when you get to college, you go into class and you may not know anybody else. And I think the point that you raised too, both of you raised, that it is different, that you don't have that class every day of the week. You're on your own to be prepared. I think the other thing you mentioned where some classes are online or hybrids, I think you also will learn, it's nice not having to be in the classroom, but that's not for me. I'm not disciplined enough to do that. So there are a lot of things beyond saving lots of tuition money. I think you're learning things. This is what's going to work for me when I go to Fitchburg State or Mount Wachusett. These are the kind of types of classes, not only subject matter, but the types that are being offered. These are the ones that I do best in. And I think that's a great opportunity to be able to do this long before you're accepted into college. I think it's a fantastic program, and a big thank you to Fitchburg State University. Okay, I still haven't graduated when I was at college. I have to pause there for a second. And Mount Wachusett Community College to be a part of this with not only Fitchburg High but the other regional high schools in the area. I think it's a fantastic program.
I have a question for Maureen. That's the right name.
Yeah.
Maureen, okay. You're a dynamo. What do you say to kids who maybe their self-image is not that, oh, I'm up for doing this, but what would you say to kids who think, oh, that sounds hard or that sounds complicated? Like, what would you say for encouragement?
I think, I'm just saying, I would say, like, it's not, like, I don't think you don't have anything to lose. Like, you're not losing any money, like, you're not losing any of your time. Like, there's so much time between when you start the class and when, like, with the drop dates and everything like that, it's the same as at college. So you have so much time to figure out if this is actually going to be right for you. So I would think, like, you don't have anything to lose. And, like, the only thing you can do is, like, learn from it. So I don't think, like, it's, like, that's pretty much what I would say. I try to encourage everyone to take dual enrollment classes all the time. Literally, I'm like the recruiter.
What do you say every day? I feel like I overhear her with her friends answering your question right now, and I don't want to say their names, but I was going to say, what do you say to your friends? Yeah.
It's eligible.
Please just take it. It's so honestly, like, for me, it's so much better than like sitting like a regular. Okay, I don't even feel like I'm in high school when like I'm in those classes. So, and on top of that, about how you said about how like you were taking classes with like other Fitchburg High students, like literally Gear Up has become like my family. So even when like the teacher isn't there, like the proctors and stuff, like we have Mr. Wu and we have someone who's this year, his name's like Chris Carson-Arno, like they've become like my family. So I know I can always like depend on them if like I need something, if I need advice, and I think that's like really important for students who don't really have like anyone to go to because they become like your family. So
thank you.
Great program.
A great closing statement.
Yeah.
That was. Let's be closer.
stop it.
So do we need a question and answer period?
I don't know. I mean,
I think so, right? Okay.
We hit a few there. So, but I mean, certainly if there are more questions, I'm glad to answer them. I think next steps for us is again, developing the educator, future educators pathway program. We see a real need there. And last year when we did the future teacher signing day, we had about 18 kids that coming out of the class 2019, and I know there's a lot in the class of 2020 who are interested in education as a career, and it'd be beneficial in a lot of ways for them, for the school system, for Fitchburg State and the Mount as well. So that's ongoing work. But and then I think the challenges of how do we schedule all of this? That's one part that is very difficult, I would say. That's just the logistical, in a 7-period drop one rotating schedule. How does a college professor work within that?
Right.
When a period meets at 7:30 one day and 11:30 another day, for them that's tricky. So we're having discussions about ways that we can streamline it a little bit more, because like right now, Ms. Scott would know really better than me, is many of these are individualized schedules for the student, and that's a lot when you look at 260 different enrollments.
When are kids making decisions about it?
They'll be making some in the scheduling process that we do in the spring for next year.
So I wasn't clear enough. Like, I guess, at what age are kids making decisions about the courses that they're going to take?
Yeah, so the ideal scenario, like for HCOP, is identify student sophomore year, do a second semester sophomore experience, and then junior and senior year, you really hit the ground running with the credited coursework. And I think what we've seen so far is that works pretty well. Try to identify sophomore year. Here is, with the seminars, that Ms. Scott would do, and students that come down and explain it, and the folks from Fitchburg State and the Mount to present fire science the other day, the HCOP recently this year, whatever it might be. Because I think to do it right out of the gate freshman year, it doesn't make sense. Students don't have enough awareness yet. They need to just get adjusted in the transitional period. And even to do it second semester freshman year, to me, seems too soon. So we're really looking at, the one model is the sophomore year, second semester, and another model would be kind of like what Alhana described. Now, Alhana's, we also want to make it flexible so that students in the various programs can participate. Alhana is Honors Academy, and it works around that, but for her, it worked best junior year. So, we want to have it, I think senior year would be too late, because the 12 credits would be tough to do. But even then, we've tried to have an approach around, we'll make it work.
And is the college course weighted differently than your courses at the school?
Well, we weighted into our GPA system as a, sort of an honors / dual enrollment credit. So it's one of our highest credit-bearing, GPA credit-bearing classes that we offer.
But it sounds like you girls you've gone way beyond the credit requirement.
Oh, in terms of the 24 credit requirement? Yeah, I mean...
Do you mean in terms of the GPA or in terms of...
I guess, I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of curious, because obviously they've just got a ton of coursework there, right? So how does that... And then my only other question is, have you ever had a case where schools that you're applying to are saying, I'm not going to take those credits, or they're not going to count for what you want them to count for, or do you know if that has happened to any?
I think the only ones that probably won't transfer is probably like my CNA ones, only because like that's like to get certified, not like an actual general class. But I know my English one, psychology, and taking sociology next semester as well will all transfer over. So
Okay.
Those are okay. So.
Have you already applied? Do you know what you want to do?
Yeah, so I applied for most of my schools for biology if they don't have pre-med, so I was going to do it on a pre-med track. And I applied to 12 schools, I think, and so far I've gotten to 7, so I'm just waiting.
And that's congratulations. Have they told you, like, they've looked at your transcript, right? And they've said, we'll honor this, we'll honor this?
They haven't told me exactly, but I know on a few of the portals I can like put in I can put in all the classes I've taken and see how they transfer over. So I'm assuming that they can take it. So I put in English, psychology, sociology, and stuff, and they've taken those.
Okay.
And with mass transfer, those will. So with the private out of state, that's a different
And even
story.
some private out of state have still taken them too.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to, I think I know what you're asking now. So students have minimum requirements as far as the courses that they need to take to graduate Fitchburg High School. But there's no limit on how many courses a student can take outside of our regular 7:30 to 2:05. So some students participate in things like Upward Bound during the summer. Some choose to take 3 college classes because that's who they are and what they want to do. So some will surpass that minimum, and it just gets factored into the formula of their GPA. As far as college coursework that they're taking, that's weighted in between an AP course and an honors course. So AP still has that 5.0, and the college courses, for us anyway, are 4.8. So it's where an honors is 4.5. So it's like right in between the two. And there's been some discussion about that, and that's a whole other, but I think that might be answering.
Yeah, I guess I think it's when you're a sophomore, you don't really think about any of that, right? Like, you're just taking your classes. So
Yeah,
I
so-
feel like there's an education piece that the sophomores probably need.
Right.
Because it could impact
Yes.
their future.
So that happens with guidance counselors while they're scheduling, but it also happens when they go into classrooms. So I think for Maureen, because she was part of the STEM program, they were coming into her classes and saying, we have this CNA program, how many of you would be interested? Because they were students that had already articulated that that was a field they wanted to go into. But we do start talking to students in 8th grade because we want them to come to Fitchburg High School and we want them to know the opportunities that are there for them. We don't start talking to students seriously about scheduling them into a college course until they're scheduling their junior year. So that would be the spring of their sophomore year, so that they would know what's offered junior year. And some of our really high-achieving sophomores do take dual enrollment courses that summer going into their junior year of high school and have done phenomenally well. Like, I mean, you can speak to that, but.
Summer courses are still free? That's
Yes.
astonishing.
And the
That's pretty-
summer
that's
courses
pretty
are
special.
probably with other college students though, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It would be
So,
mixed in. Yep.
And other schools. So you might have a couple of Leominster students, a couple of Sizer, some Fitchburg State students, some Mount Wachusett Community College students, which we haven't had a student yet not enjoy that experience. And from what we've heard from Fitchburg State and the Mount, the students are doing really well. And if their transcripts are any indication, they're doing really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So it's
full-time
great.
professors have commented. We had a full-time psychology professor last summer who had never worked with the high school students, and he said, ask me again.
Do you want to sub during? We got a few opportunities there. Yeah, I mean, I would also emphasize again too, Jen and the folks from Fitchburg State and the Mount have been doing unbelievable amount of work on this and really, helped us shepherd. I would say, again, we had applied a few years ago and we weren't approved. We got some great feedback from the Department of Ed and the higher ed and secretaries of ed. And again, I just, can't thank this team behind and next to me enough because they've really done a tremendous amount, and I think it's like herding cats too because every one of the high schools is different. Leominster High is different from Gardner High, which is different from Fitchburg High, which is different from Sizer, and we all kind of have different schedules and different things going on, but they've done a great job in coalescing around a common mission and putting together, I think, a tangible program that's helping kids at every school and most importantly to me, of course, our kids, and specifically two here, but there's quite a few others and certainly we take Maureen on the road whenever we can, but there's a lot of other students too who, I think it's the other part that we haven't talked a lot about, though I've heard from the students is, when you read some of the research about it, is there's many students who just don't see themselves as college material. They don't believe in themselves.
I'm not sure I understand.
Well, I'm trying to tell them that it's important. My watch is giving me some lip now, too. I think that, that part is super important, too, around just the idea of building that confidence. I can be successful at the college level. I see myself holding my own with this academic load. It makes sense to me. I can do this. And that part is, as we know, mindset has a lot to do with success. And I think that's a huge part of these early college programs, too. And again, I'm very grateful to work with these folks.
That's great.
Great.
I wanted to bounce off what you said about well, I just think it's super important, and I'm glad that you guys are talking to the the underclassmen and stuff about this super early, because I have a lot of friends now, obviously in the senior class, who wish that people had stressed the importance of college to them, because sometimes they don't have that at home. Luckily, thankfully, I had parents that were on top of me. They're well, I mean, I've always been on top of myself because I knew I was always going to go, but a lot of kids don't have that.
Right.
And so now they're realizing like, oh, I should have done this when I was a freshman. And it's not even just taking dual enrollment, but like stressing the importance of college itself and getting a higher education. Obviously, college might not be it for everybody, but there's things like the manufacturing classes and stuff. Like it's just one thing where you can get a certification. So I think it's really important, and like I'm pretty grateful you guys are like about that.
Thanks.
We are not paying her, but.
Not officially, anyway. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Should we sing so long farewell
Oh,
for the
but
sound
I
of
like
music?
listening.
I know.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Not tonight, but
Give it with the kids?
2 kids, yeah.
Look at that big box of candy. I don't even know where that was from. I know who it is. Okay, what do we got?
We have 3 donations tonight for approval. One from Miss Ann Anderson, a check for $300 to be used at McKay as needed for literacy purchases. Our second one is donated to Miss Eva Kelly in the Family Engagement Center from our friends at Elite Construction Design. This is an annual event for them, obviously. Many of their friends donate for the holiday season's clothing and toys for our elementary and middle schoolers with a estimated dollar amount of about $6,000. And lastly, another one through the Family Engagement Center from the United Way and Combat Hunger, donation of meals to feed upwards 500 meals of 40 people. Again, an estimated donation value of about $2,000. We have no grants for submission or acceptance tonight.
So those are action items. Do we want to, well, we have to go through policy items?
Yeah, then we just have the second reading on the policies.
Yeah.
We had the first reading at the last meeting, so. And then we have a live warrant tonight, in the amount of $582,385.37.
All right. Do you want to bundle them?
I'll make a motion that we bundle.
Thank you. All in
Second.
favor? Second and all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So we'll take action items 20-1260 up through and including 20-1265.
Motion to accept.
Motion made to accept. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That's completed. No need for executive session. All right, motion made to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes.
New Year.